The Walk. And has anyone been enjoying this series called The Walk? It's been so good. And shout out to Pastor Sam. Let's give it up for Pastor Sam for holding the fort for the last few weeks and showing us what it is to know about the walk. And if you've missed any of it, I'm going to just sort of recap here real quick. And we've been learning about the story, and this story, I would have to say, would be the greatest story, I think, in human history, if you agree with me with that. The story we're learning about, which is the death and the crucifixion and the burial and the resurrection of Jesus, would be the greatest story, I would say, in human history. See, we've learned so far that Jesus was betrayed, denied, rejected, and abandoned by the very people he chose to be close with. And so far he has been sold out and collected by the soldiers. And so we pick up this story right after Jesus has been sentenced to be crucified. And the people had spoken, and so Jesus is sent away. And I'm going to start reading from Matthew 27:27. Then the governor's soldiers took Jesus into the courtyard and gathered the whole company of soldiers around him. And I did some research. Do you want to know how many a company of soldiers is? Back in those days, they think, and smarter people than me have decided to think, and I guess they've done a lot more research than me, about 300 to 600 soldiers were gathered to see Jesus be brought into this courtyard. And so there was 300 to 600 soldiers around Jesus, and 28 it says they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. And then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on his head. They put a staff in his right hand. They knelt in front of him and mocked him. "Hail, King of the Jews," they said. They spit on him and took the staff and struck him on the head again and again. After they had mocked him, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him away to crucify him. I mean, it's super hard if you're a Christian in the place tonight to not even get emotional because we know the ending of this story. But my first thought I'd like to ponder about is, why did they have to mock him? Like, why did Jesus have to be tortured on the way to his death? And I was thinking about this. Was it not enough that Jesus was about to be crucified? Was it not enough that Jesus was about to be crucified, that they had to torture him on the way and mock him on the way? And I just wonder if God, through his own son's suffering, is trying to show his kids, us, that even though life gets hard, and I mean, like, life does get hard, and I can't even begin to explain or put into words what Jesus went through and how heavy that is, but Jesus, at his lowest, didn't let other people dictate what was going on, and nor should we. So we really need to unpack this because this is super important. They tried to break Jesus. Like they got him, they got the man, and they clearly had heard some things about this guy, that he's been doing some pretty cool stuff. And so they thought, let's see if we can break this guy on the way to his death. They literally tried to break the man. They mocked him, they spat at him. And Jesus replies with nothing. He gives them nothing. It's almost as if he doesn't let them destroy the very character that he was known for. They tried to break him. They tried to hurt him. They were tormenting the very man who was walking to his death for them. Just think about that. They were spitting on the man who was about to save their lives. They were mocking the very man who would end up saving their lives. And they tried to break him, they tried to test him, and yet in his deepest, darkest time comes the greatest victory in the history of mankind. They spit on Jesus, he didn't fight back. They struck the man, he never fought back. They mocked the very man who they were doing it for. And he just would not let them derail what he stood for. And this had me thinking that I believe in this place that your darkest time will bring the greatest victory. For the Father brings light to darkness, and your story is going to be your greatest victory. What God did for you will start to become your victory. what God's going to start to do to some people's hearts in this place will actually start to be your biggest triumph. The thing that you thought was going to be the end of you starts to become the start of your life. And I wonder if God is trying to say that even my son went through it. So of course at some point we will feel betrayed, punished and mocked, but we don't let people dictate where we are going, for we are only called by one, the King of all kings. We aren't called by another person or thing. We're not called by the thing you're going through right now. And we're going to just start putting one foot in front of the other. Because we're not letting that sickness stop us. We're not letting that disease stop us. We're not letting that thing in the way stop us from what God has called us to do. Much like Jesus wouldn't let these men stop him from what the Father had called him to do, which was to save our lives. And when people come to tear us down for what we believe, we don't lash out in defense, but we show a heart like Jesus did. Don't let it derail what you stand for. For we aren't called by the world around us. We're called by him. Jesus was called to save us, and nothing these people tried to do would break his character. He never fought back. He never so much as spoke a negative word towards these people. He didn't let his world around him dictate what the Father called him to. So let me tell you, if you've ever felt like this before, God can still use you. You ever felt betrayed? God can use that. You ever felt mocked? God can use that. He can use that because your darkest day will be your greatest victory. Your darkest day will be your greatest victory. You know, I truly believe, and it's very evident in this story and this whole Easter story, that Jesus believes that you, my friend, are worth dying for. He truly, 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 truly believes that you are worth dying for. And this is some very, 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 very good news. If you're in here freaking out thinking the roof's going to fall into my head, these guys don't know what I'm doing, it's my first time in church, what's even going on? Why is there a guy with a spider web yelling at me on his shirt and it's pink? It just doesn't make sense. And I have some very, very good news for you. I don't know why this shirt is, but I liked it. That's the first bit of good news. So don't mock my shirt. Because I'm not going to be derailed by that. Gotcha. What was I even talking about? Jesus clearly believes that you are worth dying for. Because if he didn't believe it, he wouldn't have done it. If Jesus truly didn't believe in you, just you yourself, he would not have gone through this whole thing if he didn't believe that you were worth dying for. And so let me tell you in here tonight, let me encourage you with this. You are worth dying for in Jesus' eyes. Because if you weren't, he wouldn't have done it. If Jesus truly did not believe that you could make it with how imperfect we all are, then he would never have tried. So you got to know in here that God wants us to make it. God wants us to make it, and you're so worth it. Whether you believe, whether you're an atheist, whether you're stuffed up, whether you're a single parent, whether you think you're not good enough, whether you're suffering with something and no one else knows right now, God looks down and still says today, right now, that you are worth it. I don't know if you've ever been told that, or no one's ever told you that. Can I say, don't listen to what other people say about you. Don't listen to what other people have said about you. Because God looks down and says, you are worth it to me. That I would send my only son as a living sacrifice for you. You are worth it. And it's like I feel like sometimes we could take for granted our own salvation and we forget what our salvation was built off. And it's like you like maybe in here and you're like, I know this Easter story like word for word. Get to the good part, Loch. Or like, buddy, when are you going to like tell me something I don't already know? When are we going to get to the good part? But this is more than just words in the Bible. We are unpacking the very essence of who he is. We are unpacking the heart of Jesus and what he actually did for us, that we can get so caught up in the politics and the procedures and the doing of church, but may we never forget what this is all about. May we never forget how this whole thing even started. The heart of Jesus that would walk for you, and he would walk for me, and he would walk for everyone else. The heart of Jesus to walk for you. The heart for Jesus that he wants you to make it. And so never forget, when people come to rob your joy, we don't have to let them derail us, but we know that Jesus walks for them just as much as he walks for us. So I know it hurts, and people hurt people, and that's just how that is, and that's just how that rolls sometimes, but that doesn't mean we let it stop us from moving forward. For Jesus did the walk for all, not just the people that go to church, not just the people that have their lives all together, not just the people that stand on a stage and preach. Jesus walked for all. And so Jesus is getting mocked, and the crowd starts joining in, and we pick up the story in Luke 23:26. As the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon, who was on his way in from the country, and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. A man who was just on his way carries the cross. Just a man, just named Simon, was on his way and he carried the cross. And that's not even the preach tonight, but I just found that fascinating. Never mentioned in the Bible before, and he's never mentioned after this. Just a man who was there and carried the cross. And if God wanted Jesus to carry the cross all the way, then God would have given him the strength to do so. Like, if God truly wanted Jesus to carry the cross all the way, then I'm pretty sure God could give him the strength to do so. But I truly think God is trying to show us something, that just as Simon was told to carry the weight of the cross for Jesus, in the same way Jesus, hear me tonight, church, in the same very way Jesus wants to take the weight off you tonight. In the very same way that Simon relieved Jesus of the pain for a moment, is the very same way that Jesus wants to relieve you tonight of some weight that you've been carrying around. Some people just need to feel that weight tonight come off. You got to think about the struggle it is to carry that tree, basically, up a mountain. And I know some people will go through some horrific things in here, and it's crazy, and life's crazy. But can I say, Jesus truly wants to take some of that weight away tonight. And he can do it tonight. Sometimes, man, in this life, there's just some days, some weeks, some months where I can't even walk. And Jesus says, hey, you don't have to even come to my feet for help. You don't have to find me. You don't have to do anything special, for I am already here, and I will take the weight of the cross and I will help you walk it. Hey, son, daughter, I'm going to take the weight now. Yes, we are bloodied. Yes, we are bruised. Yes, we are tired, but Jesus is here to walk with us. And yes, we are still going to have to walk a little ways now. Yes, we are still going to have to walk the walk, but it's a hell of a lot lighter when Jesus is involved. It's going to be hard. No one ever promised a perfect life, but you got to know that you don't walk alone. You walk with Jesus. And he has all power to take the weight that you feel off your shoulders right now. Even if you don't feel him, you don't walk alone. Even if you feel distant, you don't walk alone. This is his heart, that no matter who you are or where you've come from or what you've done, it does not matter, for he still will take the weight and walk with you. Whatever you're going through, he's right there with you. Just feel that for a second. Feel the weight come off your shoulders, because Jesus is standing right there with you. And I mean this when I say it tonight. If you truly, truly want it, God will take the weight off your shoulders right now. He truly will take the weight off. And he truly doesn't want to see you struggle. He's walking with you, and he wants to walk with you no matter what's happened in your life. He still wants to walk with you. I don't know everyone's story in here and what you're going through right now, but Jesus wants to carry the cross with you. Jesus will walk with you. Even when I don't deserve it, he shows up. Even when I don't deserve it, he shows up. So that tells me he wants it more than I want it. The thing you're believing in, he wants it more than you want it. I want breakthrough, Father. I know, I'm right here. God, I don't know how long I can go any further with this weight that's holding me down. Here, let me take the cross tonight. Let me take some of that weight off tonight. But what if I fall? What if I stumble? I'll be right there to catch you. I walk with you every second. I walk with you every hour. I walk with you every day. He never leaves us nor forsakes us. He walks with us in the good days and in the bad days. Whether you believe it or not. Whether you think I'm just talking absolute garbage or not, he still walks with you. He never leaves us nor forsakes us. You know, my nan and pop, my grandparents, they used to own this farm. They're in heaven right now. I hope they're listening to their grandson preach fire. They will be listening for sure. They were great Christian people. And they used to have this farm. They were farmers. My mum's parents, just so you know, shout out. You know about the farm. Yeah, she was born there. So they had this farm, and the farm, okay, let's think for a second about countryness. You think Warhope's country? Let's go ahead and double that, and then you've got Warwick Nabil. Even the name sounds like Bogan. It's just crazy. I don't know why I did the accent then. I'm going back to my glory days of wanting to be a farmer. I wanted to be a farmer, legit. Yeah, anyway, you don't care. I'm just mentioning silly facts now. It's cool. Anyway, so the farm, Warwick Nabil, and we lived here, but it was like 10 hours away in Victoria. And so every Christmas we would go down there, and I just used to froth it as a kid, like I was loving it. And they had this motorbike. This motorbike was like an ancient relic, and the motorbike my mum grew up on. So this thing was old. Oh no. What I meant to say was this motorbike was my great grandmother's motorbike, and that thing was old. And my mum's young. And so this motorbike, like I'm telling you, I would just, imagine. I would spend like hours on this motorbike. Like it was just my favorite thing to do. I was on this motorbike. Anyway, no one knows this, and even you don't know it, so I'm probably going to get in trouble, even though I'm a grown man. So I used to get on this motorbike, and they had this farm, and they had like a paddock at the back, and I was allowed on that paddock because that's what they owned. But in this country town, there was all like these dirt roads connecting like all the farms together. So they weren't like tar roads; they were like these dirt country roads connecting all the farms together. Anyway, so I was like, you know what? I want to stretch these old legs of mine on the motorbike. I want to stretch. I want to see how this thing can go. I'm sick of just being cooped up in my little paddock. And you know when like you imagine, like this is what I used to do, so embarrassing. I was like I wasn't young, but I wasn't old. I was like 15, 16. And I would imagine that I'm like some like full pro, like, have you ever done, I hear my sister laughing at me and it's making me feel not good. I'm kidding. I would imagine that I'm like this full pro rider. So I'm like just taking the corners, and in my head I'm like, yeah, look at me go. I'm probably going so slow, and it's probably lame from the outside. But in my head, I was like, I am so cool. Look at me go on this motorbike. Anyway, I was like, I'm sick of being in this paddock. I'm going to go out, and this was forbidden rule. Don't go outside the fence. And I was like, I'm going outside the fence. And you don't even know this, do you? Anyway, I open the fence, and I'm like so nervous because I wasn't that naughty as a kid, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. I was so nervous. Anyway, I'm riding on these dirt roads. That's like the road, and I'm thinking, I'm so cool. Look at me. I'm on my moto, riding around. And I obviously got way too cocky because I fell off. I fell off the bike. Yeah, I didn't, like it wasn't a bad crash, but I fully dropped the bike, fully fell off, and dropped the bike, and I was like, I'm in so much trouble. Like, I've broken my mum's favourite relic, the bike. I've done it. I've gone ahead and done it. Anyway, and you know when like you fall over in public and like you check around to make sure no one's watching? I did that and I was on the clear. So I lift up the bike real quick, and the seat had fallen off the bike. Like there was no seat. And I was like, oh my goodness gracious me. I put the seat back on, but obviously there was something, like there was screws missing or something. Anyway, I ride it back home to the farm, and I'm like, I'm not going to tell my mum and dad about this because I don't want to get in trouble. But I will tell my pop, because that guy, he's not going to care. And he's so lovely, he will never yell at me. And like my pop, I personally didn't ever hear him like yell, but obviously he would have yelled at you, but. And then I ride it back into like the shed thing, and Pop used to just sit on this front porch, like he used. I can't wait to get old because I'm gonna say this. He used to say, "I'm just taking a spell." That's how no one laughs because I don't know what that is. He used to. I guess it's called like an old man rest. If you're brought up in the country, you're like, I'm just going outside. I'll just take a spell. I'll just take a little spell. I need to load off. And so Pop would always just like out there. So I was like, this. I swear to God, this happened, Mum. Not making this. I park it in the thing. I'm like, Pop. I'm trying not to yell because these guys are inside. I'm like, Pop. And he's like, deaf as. Anyway, I get Pop's attention and I get him to come into the shed with me without Mum and Dad knowing. I'm like, Pop, here's the deal. I went outside the boundary and I crashed the bike and the seat fell off. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, I'm actually starting to freak out. I've broken the bike. Pop's like, nah, this is really what he said. He goes, nah, she'll be all right. It'll be all right. He just put it back on, and I feel like he put like tape on. He didn't even really fix it. He literally just said, it's like he just got the seat, like the seat was wobbling around, like what you sit on, the cushiony bit. He's like, oh, you don't even need that. It's just for comfort. Like, it'll be all right. Lock, get back out there. It'll be all right. And I guess we just never heard of it again because everything was all good. I never got in trouble. I kept riding the bike, and life was good. And here I am now. And so funny. And this does have something to do with my message, believe it or not. Pop goes, it'll be all right. Dust yourself off. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Come into the Father's arms. It'll be all right. God's got this. It'll be all right. Your past is behind you. It'll be all right. He's got your future. It'll be all right. Don't worry. It'll be all right. He's already worked it out. It'll be all right. He's already paid the price. It'll be all right. When life gets hard, friend, can I encourage you with one thing? With one thing that I know is for certain in this life as a young man, and I probably haven't even lived that much longer than anyone. I'm pretty young. But the one thing I've learned in life is it'll be all right. It'll be all right. People betray you. It'll be all right. You feel lost at the moment. It's going to be all right. Dust yourself off because He's making all things good. Dust yourself off. You are worth it. Hey, you that's at the end of your tether, who's just about to give up, it'll be all right. Get back up, dust yourself off. Come home to the Father, come home. It'll be all right. He's right here with you. He's walking every day with you. You never walk alone. It'll be all right. And so this is where my part wraps up, and you're going to have to come on Good Friday to hear the next part. But I finished my message with Luke 23:32. 2 other men, both criminals, were also led out with him to be executed. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right and the other on his left. Jesus said, and this has to be one of the greatest sentences ever said in a situation as horrific as this. Jesus goes, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. What kind of God do we serve? Father, forgive them, for they don't even know what they are doing. Forgive them, for they don't even know what they are doing? You're telling me you're telling me that the man that was just tortured, the man that was just spat at, the man that carried the cross, the man that was just humiliated in front of hundreds of people, who was crucified to a cross, is saying, Father, forgive them, for they don't even know what they are doing. He loved and extended grace in his pain and humiliation, and he did it for you, friend. Just for you. Just for you. And he would have walked the exact same journey to save the life of one person. And his words were, forgive them, for they don't even know what they are doing. And I wonder if we could be a people that offer this type of forgiveness. And I wonder what the world would look like if even us in this room just start to offer this kind of radical forgiveness. Because I'll be honest, Jesus had every right to go, stuff these people. Stuff them. What did I do to deserve this? But he shows grace and forgiveness. Imagine if we just started to forgive even when it's not fair. Even when they don't deserve it, because did we deserve the forgiveness? Church, did we deserve to be forgiven? If you think about your life right now, I don't think we actually did deserve to be forgiven. And so I wonder if we could stretch the same hand and give forgiveness to those that don't even deserve to be forgiven. I wonder what sort of things would start to shift in the world if people started to radically forgive one another. And I know by now, probably sound like a broken record, and you guys are sick of every time I get up here, I end up saying the same sort of thing. But I'm sorry, because to the day I die, I will preach this message that no matter who you are or what you are or where you've been or what you've done, that your love status with Jesus does not dictate his love status with you. That he is forever and always going to love you, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, he will always love you. I said he will always love you. He will always extend his arm of forgiveness. He will always forgive again and again and again and again and again. I am just a no good kid that gets into too much trouble too often and does not deserve any of this. But all I did was say yes to the calling on my life. That's how I ended up here. I just said yes. I started off as a kid behind the media desk putting words on a screen. I started to help out at youth. My youth pastor, Sam, he said, hey, Lach, you're doing words. It's so cool, man. You should run that whole tech booth. I said, yeah, sure. Why not? Never wanted the spotlight, never wanted the lights on my face, never wanted to even preach. Sam goes, hey, man, you should start helping out, putting the barrels out and starting to lead these young people. I go, sure, man. Why not? Sam goes, hey, brother, you should just tell your testimony one Friday. Just give it a shot. I said, yeah, why not? Fast forward, a few years ago, Sam sits me down and goes, hey, man, I'm actually going to start leading the church, and it would be my greatest honor if you just wanted to actually run the very youth ministry that I brought you up in. And I said, yeah, why not? Let's give it a crack. Why not give it a go? I just said yes. Someone in here needs to hear this tonight. Just say yes. Just say yes to the calling of God. Just say yes to his mercy. Just say yes to his love. It's the best decision that you'll ever make. And let me encourage someone, do never, never, never be afraid that your mess disqualifies you from the calling of God, because it's the calling of God that pulls you out of your mess. And I am living, breath, human flesh testament of that. I am living testament that even in the mess, Jesus still calls you. I am living testament that even when you get things wrong, and I said yes in my mess, slowly but surely God starts to work on your heart. Slowly but surely God starts to change you. Slowly but surely God starts to work things out and change things in your life. I just said yes. It's the best decision you'll ever make. Just say yes. And I'll leave you with this thought. a very, very wise man named Mark Minturn once put me upstairs. I was doing a few dumb things. And he changed my life forever, this guy, by saying these few words. Put me upstairs and he goes, Lock, like I was 100% in the wrong. I was doing so many silly things. He goes, Lock, he goes, I'm so proud of you. That's what he says up there. I'm very, very proud of you. And you know, you've done some dumb stuff. But keep going. I was getting ready for a firing. I was getting ready to pack my bags and head off. He said, I'm very proud of you, Lachlan. Give it another crack. Maybe you don't do some of those silly things. Give it another go. Because he said, 3 steps forward and 1 step back is better than 1 step forward and 3 steps back. So dust yourself off and give it another crack. Give it another go. Our Father in heaven is, without words that I can even describe, is so immensely proud of his kids for giving it another go. He does not look down and say, oh, Locke, here he is, the failure, he's stuffed up, look at him, kick him off the stage. He looks down and says, I am so proud of my son for giving another go. I am so proud of my daughter for giving another crack. He's proud of you, you know. He's so immensely proud of you, you know. He's so in love with you, you know. For he sent his son, Jesus, a man who knew no sin, he did no sin, to save the world and to set us free. And tonight, as we stand and get ready to worship, without his sacrifice, I don't think we would be here in this room. And he went through all of this just so people could have a chance of finding out about this love. Just a chance. Jesus went through all this torment for a chance that some people would find out about his love. It wasn't a sure thing. You got to understand that. Jesus went through all this so the world would have a chance of knowing how good his love is. He did it on a chance. So no, we don't deserve it, but it's given anyway. Stand with me tonight, church.